Hello everyone, so I will be reviewing the movie Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile. It is a movie on Netflix based off of the life of Ted Bundy. And I will be discussing the book that it was kind of based off of. So let's get started. I was excited when I heard that Netflix was going to be making a Ted Bundy movie. The trailer came out around the time I was reading The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule, and I became so interested in the story of Ted Bundy. And so I was just so excited for this movie. I thought Zac Efron would be perfect to play Ted Bundy, since Ted Bundy was considered handsome and charming, and I thought Zac Efron could pull that off. The movie is kind of based off of the memoir The Phantom Prince, My Life with Ted Bundy, by his then-girlfriend Liz. I was really disappointed with this movie. I thought it was more romance than true crime. After I watched this movie, I decided to read the book and see if it was like the movie and maybe get like a different perspective. After reading the book, it just made me dislike the movie even more. Some of the romance aspect to the movie I understood because it is told from Liz's perspective. And for the most part, Liz didn't see him as a killer. She saw him as the person she loved. So in the beginning, I didn't mind it because it was about them meeting and falling in love, which made sense because that was her story about him. And she loved him. So you kind of saw how they met and how he was able to kind of get her to love him. So that part I didn't mind because it was interesting to see a different perspective of Ted Bundy. Since all you ever hear about is his murdering, but also everyone loved him and him being so charming, and so you were able to see that perspective and see, oh, why did everyone think that? And I thought that was needed and I liked that. However, I just wished they added more of her perspective from the book. In the movie, they made him seem so nice and so in love with her. They made him more likable and sympathetic. But in the book, she did describe his romantic side, but she also described him as cold and manipulative. He would constantly push her away and refuse to get married, and he called her needy and basically made her feel wrong for wanting more from him. So she ended up thinking it was her and not him. But then when she pushed him away and tried to basically move on because she realized he's not going to marry her, he would then become romantic and go to her and cry and leave her romantic love notes. And that was very manipulative, and I wish they added that into the movie. In the middle is where I was really bothered by this movie because it just portrayed him as a victim. Since they never really tell you that he did these crimes, you kind of sat there being like, oh, did he do it? Did he not do it? And felt bad for him, especially when he's calling Liz over and over again and she eventually just stops answering. And you just feel bad for him. It just showed Ted being this devoted guy. He loved Liz and Liz abandoning him. And it even showed him loving Liz even after he got married to somebody else. I kind of see what this movie was trying to do since Ted was so handsome and charming, and at the time many people did fall for him. They would go to his trial just to see him. So I see that they were trying to make him sympathetic and showing that, oh, maybe he didn't do it because it really did happen in real life. I just wish they did it in a way that it also showed that, you know, he did actually do it. Because with Zac Efron playing Ted Bundy, it will draw in a big audience, and some of those might not know the actual story of Ted Bundy. And I know that's shocking because he's one of the worst serial killers, but it's true. Some people actually don't know the story of Ted Bundy. And so I don't like that this was their first impression because they were making him seem sympathetic. And I did see some horrible things on Twitter about people tweeting and saying, oh my god, they love Ted Bundy now and all these things, and it just grossed me out. The last 20 to 30 minutes of the film I really liked. It was about the court, them describing about what he did, and then him getting sentenced, and then at the end they finally showing that it was actually him who did it, and how he was so good at manipulating people. he was talking to Liz at the end and he just showed his true colors and how evil he really was, and I thought that was really good. I just wish that was more of it and not just like the last 5 minutes of the film. I think if this was about a fictional serial killer, I would thought this movie was good, because you're sitting there going like, oh my god, what this person did was horrible, but did he actually do it? He's so likable and so sympathetic, and and he loves this girl so much. Did he or didn't do it? And then the end would have been shocking and you would have been so creeped out because he was just so amazing and manipulating. But since it is about real life, I kind of didn't like that aspect of it, because I'm afraid some people might have missed the fact that he really did it, and like I said, nowadays people are falling for him because of this. I just think they could have done a better job at showing how good he is at manipulating people and why all those people did fall for him, while at the same time going in there knowing that he did these crimes and not making him seem so sympathetic and making this more of a romance, because in the book it wasn't all romance. Yes, she did love him, but he wasn't a good person to her, and she wrote about that, and so I wish they also showed that, so it wasn't like, oh my god, he loves her so much, because then you saw that no, he wasn't a very good guy. I did like the ending when, Liz was running down the hall after, Ted kind of confessed to her, and you saw how much pain and heartache that he caused her. In the book, Liz was saying how when she was talking to people gave her a hard time. They would not understand what she's going through, because they would be like, what do you have to be hurt about? You are a lucky one. You survived. They thought she was out to gain sympathy and take it away from the people he actually hurt and killed. But she is also a victim. She spent more than 6 years with this man. She exposed him to her child, and he killed a child, so that kind of probably messed with her, because, as a mother, your whole life is to protect your child, and here she was just letting a killer into their lives. That probably messed her up royally, and how can you ever trust somebody again? I didn't hate this film, but they could have done a better job. I liked that there wasn't really any reenactments. We don't need to see him killing his victims, because, that would be insensitive to the people's family that he did kill. We don't need to see that. I think they did a good job by, in the courtroom, describing what he did, so you knew what he did without actually seeing it, but I just wish it wasn't a romance. And since they based it off the book, and the book was much more realistic to her life than this, they could have showed that, no, he wasn't really romantic. He really didn't love Liz. He was this awful guy, but he was able to switch and be manipulative and charming. And I wish they did that throughout the film and not just at the end. So let me know what you thought of the film, and if you read the book, like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye!